I use a brow powder, but it's actually an eyeshadow. It's from Bobbi Brown, and it's the eyeshadow in the color Smoke, which is number 24. I have the single that you can get separately and instead of in a kit. I think you can also customize these into kits as well. But this one is not really a brown, it's not a gray, it's kind of a mix of the two. So I find for my dark hair and my dark eyebrow color, this is perfect. What I'm going to show you is how you can do your eyebrows really quickly and get them to stay all day long. What I'm going to use is just a plain chapstick or lip balm. And this one is just from Neutrogena. It's called the Lip Moisturizer. And I have a spoolie brush. So all I do is take some on the end of the spoolie brush and just run that through my brow. Just right the way through. And what this does is actually add a little bit of sheen to the brow. And it also helps it stay in place. Now I haven't even filled in the color yet, so this is the first step. And you see how I've brushed all the hair upwards? That's just so you look more awake. And if you have your eyebrows going, like if you start brushing them down, you see the difference? It kind of droops my whole eye down and it just doesn't look right. So always brush upwards and you'll look bright-eyed. Or at least you look like you slept. Okay, so that's done. Now, if you feel like chapstick just doesn't do it for you and you need a little bit more of an intense, you know, something a little bit more substantial to hold your eyebrow hair in place. Haha, I didn't say hairs. This is what you need. What? You have to watch my other videos to know why I said that. But I use glycerin soap. Now this one is from the Body Shop. I think this one's called Satsuma, which smells really nice. It's like one orangey one, but that doesn't matter. What you need is glycerin soap, and you can get one inexpensively. I think there's one called Pears, which is really old school, and all of us makeup artists know this trick to do eyebrows. It's also something that drag queens have done forever to kind of flatten their eyebrows down. But what you can do is that even if you don't want to flatten your eyebrows down, if you just want to get them to hold in place, this is how you do it. So you take another spoolie and you get some water. You can, obviously, if you're doing this in the bathroom, you just take a little bit on your spoolie under the sink. But I'm just going to spray this so it's a little bit wet. And then the soap that I have here, I'm going to run the brush just over top of the soap bar. So if you can see, hopefully you can see that there's a little bit of residue from the soap on the spoolie. And then I'm going to do the same thing I did with the chapstick. I'm just going to run that all the way through on my eyebrow, and then I'll let it dry. And when I do that, it'll hold for the rest of the day. And the good thing about this is because it's a soap, you'll have really clean eyebrows, but it'll actually dry clear. And it'll stay in place perfectly. So you can see that. And now if I actually tap on it, it kind of feels like it's got a bit of a waxiness to it, and it's going to hold. So now I'm going to show you after doing that step. I actually do the powder after I do that step because I find that it holds onto the color a little bit better and I get more intensity from the brow powder that I use. So again, I have a angled brush with a tiny little head there. Hopefully you can see this one's inexpensive. It's from Elf Cosmetics. And I always start in the middle of my brow. So here's the tip. When you take the brow powder or any eyeshadow powder, any pigment basically, the first place that you place it is going to be the most intense in color. So if I started right here, right after I popped the color through, I would get like a really dark intense shadow color right there, which is not what I want, because as you can see, our natural brows kind of look sparse working towards the center of our brow, or work the front, okay, if you want to call it the front of your brow. It's a lot more sparse than it is, say, in the middle of your brow. So this is a safer place for you to apply color, because that way, if you have too much intensity of color, it kind of mixes in with the bushier part of your eyebrow. So I'm just taking it and doing angled strokes. So I have my brush kind of angled like that, and it's going in this direction. So the longer side is pointing down, and I'm making short hair-like strokes. Just like that. And then for the end, I change the angle of the brush and go the length of the brow. And I like to elongate the eyebrow because it's just a little bit more exotic, and it looks, it really pulls the eye out, which is really nice. It also gives... Now I'm taking a little bit, whatever's left on the brush after I do the middle section, I'll take that and add hair-like strokes to the front of the brow. And I like the brow to be quite natural looking, so if it looks a little imperfect, that's okay. I prefer that look. I feel like it's a little bit more real. And honestly a little sexier than a really done brow. Yes, I said the word sexy. So there's that brow done. Now this one is the one that I use the chapstick on, so it's a little bit more pliable or movable than the other side probably will be. But there's that. Okay, and then I'm going to do the other side. Let me just move my hair out of the way. There we go. So same thing, I'm going through the center area of the brow and kind of thickening it up a little bit, because over the years they have really gotten thin. And I can feel actually that this one's a little bit more harder to move. Now the reason I do the powder after I have my eyebrow in place is because I've done it the other way around, and I found when I would brush it through with some kind of waxy substance on it, it would push all of the eyeshadow out, and then I would have none left and I have to do it again anyway. So this way it saves me a step. This way saves me a step. I can speak. And again, I'm just lengthening the end of the brow there. Now, I would probably extend my brow all the way there. If it comes into fashion one day, there's a trend. That could happen. Forget wavy brows. Let's extend our brows all the way out. Make it like a unibrow with an extended brow. I called it, 2018. You think? It could happen. Okay, and I'm just taking a little bit through the front. And that's basically it. Now, let's just see. Do they look fairly even? And like I said, I don't care to have them perfectly the same, because, you know, it's the saying that they're sisters, not twins. So I always tell all my clients when I do their brows, because I do brow threading, that they're never going to be exactly the same. You just kind of want to make sure that they're fairly even and that they balance both sides of your face. And there we go. I hope that was helpful for you. If you have any questions, put them in the description box below and I'll be sure to answer them for you. Take care. Bye.